Good morning, and I welcome all of you to the LRFD workshop number 3. We had a very successful workshop yesterday, and we had a trial run back in March. So the trial run had about 35 participants, essentially provided feedback on our guide, and then we updated the guide, and then organized 2 more workshops. So it's truly a pleasure to host this workshop. The entire research was funded by Iowa Highway Research Board in a series of projects, and we will go through some of the project highlights and then get into the design guide. So as most of you know, FHWA issued a policy of memorandum back in June 2000 that all of the bridges initiated after October 1st, 2007 should be designed according to the LRFD design guidelines. And several states have started a transition process, and this was the effort by Iowa to transition into LRFD. So the LRFD project was completed earlier this year, and as I mentioned, we've gone through a development of a guide. The guide was developed in collaboration with Baker, who has contributed to the AASHTO specification development, as well as with the selected members of the Iowa DOT. Before I get started with the presentation, I just want to mention that during the course of this project, we reached out to you for a number of things. We've conducted a national survey, we conducted a county survey, we conducted several field tests, and in all cases we reached out to you. I know some of you helped us during the course of the project, and I thank you for all your help, which made this LRFD development a reality for us. Okay, so with that, let me just start with a series of slides here. I want to just briefly introduce what we're going to be covering today. And Ken Dunger from the DOT will provide some opening remarks and introduction to the projects and the workshop. And then we'll go through one topic at a time. So all of you should have the materials where the slides are identified with the topic number, which coincides with the topic number in the agenda. So here's the project team that received the funding. There were 5 of us from the Iowa State University. My name is Sridharan. I'm the PI for the project. Mohanad Suleiman is now, he moved on to become a faculty member at Lehigh University, a geotechnical engineer. Sharif Abdul Salam went back to Egypt as a faculty member at the British University of Egypt. Cam is here. He is now with the Department of Civil Engineering at University of Wyoming. He will be doing some of the presentation. And Matthew Rowling is in Wisconsin. He finished his master's, and the other 2 finished PhDs. We had a subcontract with Baker. Don Green and Scott Sang are the researchers from Baker. Don Green is with us, and he will be talking to you about some aspects of the design guide. So before I move further along, let me ask you, for construction control, how many of you use WEAP program? Can you raise your hands? Okay. How many of you use a dynamic formula, something like ENR, modified ENR, or spec formula? Okay, not many. I got one more question. I want to see how many of you are from consulting firms. Quite a few. County offices, quite a few, and the Iowa DOT. 2 at the back. I think you. Okay. Sorry, I missed you. So we got 1 good employee, and then. All right. So we started the project with TR 573. The idea there was to develop the design guide just like any other state was starting to do. Once we got started, we realized that there's a lot more work can be done, and we went back to the Highway Research Board and suggested that if they would invest, we will do a series of field testing, which will help us a great deal to advance the LRFD concept plus the efficiency here in Iowa. At that point, there was concerns from the county officers that we may want to have some investment on the dynamic formula, a suitable method that could be used for some of the project. So that was the third piece funded by the Highway Research Board. But instead of tackling one by one, what we decided was we will tackle this with an overarching objective where the focus would be examine the current design and construction procedures and then come up with an improvements and recommendations that's going to help us advance the design here in Iowa consistent with the expectations from AASHTO. For all three projects, we had an advisory panel consisted of several members. So essentially, it represented the Bridges and Structures group here at the DOT. Bob Stanley and Steve represented the Soil Division here at the DOT. Kyle Frame from the construction group, he's here, or he will be participating. Oh, he's right there sitting. Curtis Bong was the FHWA representative, so he served on the panel. And then we had two county engineering representatives who helped us with the expectations from the county, and they both were here yesterday. And as for the final reports, what we decided to do was, instead of providing report one after the other based on the projects that we were doing, we compiled all of them and came up with the 4 volumes of a report, starting with, we'll go through as we get into the presentations. The first one focused on an electronic database that we produced. The second one focuses on the static load testing that we completed. In the third report, we came up with recommended design values for piles. The fourth one was a joint effort between us, Baker, and Iowa DOT, where the guide was developed with some series of examples. And I assume that all of those 4 volumes add up to more than 500 pages of material. If that's not enough, I can make 3 theses available to you as well. There's a project website. You can get most of the materials from the project website, and that website is included here. And in addition to that, we have published a series of journal and conference papers, and the last item is the workshop that we are completing here. So here's the project website, where if you go to the project website, you can download the electronic database if you wanted to. The design guide is not included yet. Once we are done with this workshop, we will update it with the new guide. There are references to the publication and so on and so forth. Here are the final reports, and all of you have a mini CD with your materials. The CD has electronic copies of all 4 volumes of the reports. And these are the theses, as I mentioned. Rolling worked on essentially the dynamic formula. Abdul Salam did the recommended LRFD design values, and then Cam did the setup as well as the construction control aspects. Now, these are the papers that we have already published based on the research. So we've been aggressive in terms of getting the research out, not to the folks here in Iowa, but we reached out to the national level. And in all cases, the papers were published in a variety of journals. One of the idea there was to put it out there and get feedback from peers outside the state and get their input and then integrate them into the papers as well as into our design guides and other publications. All of these papers are provided to you in the CD as well. So these are the 3 pieces of material that you received today. We did make a hard copy of Volume 4, which is probably most useful for you. The workbook includes all of the slides, almost all of them that we are going to go through today, with the option of writing notes on the right side. So as we go through the different slides, feel free to make your own notes. And then the CD has a few folders. So besides the agenda and a video that Cam is going to go through in terms of how to run weep analyses, the top layer shows the different folders, and you can get most of the materials. So here's the agenda. So I'm going to invite Ken Dunger to come and give an introduction in terms of what we have done and where we are going. And then I'll come back and talk about the database and field testing. and then we'll get into the next step where we do the calibration process.